You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast, and of course, our friends over at the Glebe Central Pub. I'm your host, Brandon Pillar, joined by Lalime's Martian. A 4-3 win for your Ottawa Senators in San Jose. Start the car, pack the bags, get on the plane, and get out of there after the Ottawa Senators steal 2 points from the Sharks, who, in the deserve to win-o-meter, Martian, that thing is like the crowd pump-up meter where it's just fully going one way. The Sharks deserve that win, but Linus Ullmark, Adam Gaudette, Tim Stützle, and so many others had something to say about that. Martian, how you feeling after this one, buddy? It's a vibe cast for me and you.
I mean, I feel good, Pilsy, but this is the kind of win that you just need to get. If you're going to be a good team this league, you're going to have to win games you don't deserve to win. And it's not something that's been common for Ottawa over the course of the last few seasons, especially this season. So finally, they win a game that they really did not deserve to win. 11 shots on goal, Pilsy. And there's a nice little stat out here from John Perlberg. I don't know if you know this guy on Twitter. He's our NHL historian. I think he might be based out of Ottawa. But he says this is 11 shots by the Ottawa Senators. It ties their fewest ever shots on goal to secure a W. So very nice for Ottawa. And that kind of tells the story of the game right there. They were, on their heels all night. And like Linus Ullmark, Pilsy, I think he was probably the number one. Yeah, you got the jersey back up there finally. That's nice to see. He's back, and great game from Ullmark tonight. I would say better than great. That's exactly what we need from him. He was fantastic tonight. So, I'm not going to say a great win from the team, but they did the job. They got it done.
And the Ottawa Senators have won 2 straight games. Don't look now. We've got a slump buster with us, Martian, as Lily Levitan is 2-0. Her lullaby music is Danger Flutes, and there she is there with Proud Papa.
Her debut.
I feel go. There we go. We get a quick visit from Lily Levitan, her first ever podcast appearance. What an absolute cutie. And she couldn't have come at a better time. The Ottawa Senators need something. The baby bump is working through podcasts. We're finding out. And the Senators are now 10, 11, and 1. Martian, let's get into this game, though. The Ottawa Senators do something we haven't seen in a long time. Score the first goal of the game. The Ottawa Senators get up to a 1-0 lead, and my locked-on player, the hockey god, who else, starts it off with a beautiful feed from Tim Stützle. Maybe not Gaudette's most pretty goal, but as we know, they don't ask how, it's just how many, and Adam Gaudette is now up to 11 goals. That was his 10th.
Yeah, I mean, he gets it done there, Pilsy. That's all you got to do. Drive the net hard, and good things happen. That's what they say, and that's exactly what it worked out for Gaudette there. And you know what I always say, Pilsy?
What do you always say?
You just give it to the German, and good things are going to happen. He's the playmaker out there. He's been doing it all season. He was doing it again tonight. The boys were getting the memo because he was getting the puck more than – I think if you had like a timer for puck on your stick all night, I think Tim Stützle probably would have been leading the way in this entire game. If not him, it was probably Macklin Celebrini, the 18-year-old. He was buzzing out there tonight. Celebrini, they're calling him, right? So he's a good young player. But you know, this is kind of like very nice to see, especially because when you look at the Ottawa Senators over the last 3 years, they've kind of been in the same shoes as San Jose recently, right? Or, you know, the last few years. And right now, San Jose is kind of in that position where they're the young team who's coming in and playing a team with a little bit more experience. And they might be having a great night, and they're at home and they're looking good. But at the end of the day, they just don't end up getting any points out of this thing. And that's an all too familiar feeling for Sens fans and for us watching and seeing that. It's kind of nice to be on the other side of it, to be honest with you. It just feels like, you know, they're kind of just getting into that next tier of team where they're just looking a little bit better as far as being established in the NHL. And that's what the kind of lump that San Jose is going to have to go through here for a little while. They're going to have to get used to that feeling of maybe feeling like they deserved a little bit better of a fate, but at the end of the day, the better team wins the game.
Yeah, I mean, the better roster, Martian. I would say that the San Jose Sharks were the better team tonight. Like, they're a feisty, scrappy team. We were talking today on Locked On Senators podcast how the San Jose Sharks are kind of like what the Ottawa Senators used to be, in the fact that they'd lose the game, but after the game, the coach of the opposing team that got the win is still like, oh my God, those guys play hard. It was not easy for us to get that win. Like, San Jose outshoots the Ottawa Senators 39-11. The expected goal percentages, 5-on-5. This is nuts. I haven't seen this I don't know if I've ever seen this. The Sharks with a 70.1 attached to a regulation loss nonetheless. And the Ottawa Senators under 30% expected goals, 5-on-5, 29.9. And they win this game. Like, for the Ottawa Senators to pull this off was very, very huge for their momentum and for Linus Ullmark's morale. Like, Martian, if this would have been an Ullmark game where he puts up the performance he does and then they don't get the win, I think would have been a crushing blow to his confidence. So, like, just how big of a win is this for Ullmark, and especially Martian, because half of Sens fan base, I forget which side you were on, but half of Sens fan base was like, no chance you put Ullmark back in. You got to stick with Fordsey. So this is a big one for the goaltender.
Yeah, I never took a stance on that, but if you would have asked me, I would have said throw Ullmark back in there. But also, Phil, you got to look at, he's got a 5-0 record against San Jose in his career, which is a little bit of a bonus going into this one. But again, 4 losses in a row for Linus Ullmark in games that he started for the Ottawa Senators here. So you got to get him back in there. You got to let him gain a little confidence. And a game against San Jose, you would think it would be an easier one for him to get in there and get a win. But he ends up going in there and having to stop, 36 shots. Pilsy, just a great performance from Linus Ullmark, and the kind of one where him stealing a game could make a really big difference for this team going forward. Just from him as an individual, from that standpoint, where he can now go to the next game and be like, maybe I can steal another one, and just keep that going. Him performing is going to be obviously, we've been talking about this all offseason. We talked about it. He's going to be a huge factor for this team at all times. So him getting a little confidence out of a game like this is a good thing. Honestly, it was a trap game for Ottawa in a way that, you look at San Jose, they're not probably the strongest team on paper. They've been playing way better lately, and they've got a great young little roster, and they've been surrounded by some pretty good veterans, of course, as well. But for Ullmark's sake, that was probably the perfect game that we needed from him, where he could go in there, steal a game, start a road trip off on the right foot, and let's get over to LA and let's do it again.
And Martian, I was going to save this for our Sen Central standouts, but while we're on Ullmark, I want to talk about it. In your intermission segment where you take calls, I mentioned that Ullmark's got to see the puck a little bit more to be successful, in my opinion, or at least in the sample size that he's shown this year. Martian, Ullmark has only had more than 30 saves in one game in his time with the Ottawa Senators. Do you know which game that is?
The home opener, maybe.
It was the home opener. That's the only game all year where he's had over 30 saves until tonight. And that was another game where it felt like Ullmark stole a win for the Ottawa Senators. So sometimes, and it's one of those weird arguments where goalies get it and maybe people that aren't goalies don't. You need to be feeling the puck to stay in the game. I mean, perfect example. Look at the flip side of this. Mackenzie Blackwood, a goalie that's been actually playing pretty good for the San Jose Sharks this year, allows 4 goals on 11 shots. Like, I mean, this 7 saves. And the Ottawa Senators, Tyler Clevin gets a shot late in the second period, and then they don't get another shot on net till Adam Gaudette's goal. Like, that's how you can see that when you're a goalie in the NHL, you need to be feeling the action so you're involved in the game. Otherwise, what happened to Blackwood could happen to anyone.
I mean, Mackenzie Blackwood's. I mean, I'm hearing rumors of this guy being on the radar of Team Canada for the Four Nations face-off coming up, and they're announcing those rosters on December 4th. So you're watching this game. If you're Doug Armstrong, I mean, 4 goals on 11 shots, but at the same time, it was quality over quantity for Ottawa tonight. They, the chances they got, I think they buried them all. Like, I don't know what the grade A chances versus goals scored was for Ottawa tonight. I'm willing to guess that they.
I'll tell you what high danger chances are, Martian, and this is wild.
Did they score all of their high danger chances, or maybe missed one of them? Like, I'm trying to think. Like, what? Like,
you're close. They had, according to our friends over at Natural Stat Trick, the Ottawa Senators had 3 high danger scoring chances, and they scored 4 goals. I think this is a good point by Sens fans in Van. They go, what are you boys talking about? This was embarrassing with few exceptions. No one shows up. Terrible. And look, I think this would be a very different postcast if the Ottawa Senators don't win. Even if this goes to overtime and they get the overtime loss and they get a point, I think we've got a totally different tone. So that's a fair point. But we haven't had enough wins to talk about this season. So when there's a win, I'm making this a vibe cast. But certainly there are some causes for concern, Martian, when you don't get a shot in, it was like 20 minutes up against a San Jose Sharks team. Like, if we're talking about Vegas, Carolina, some of the more defensively structured teams, then it's like, okay, that's fine. But the San Jose Sharks should not be keeping you without a shot. And it was getting to a point where it was embarrassing. Like, anytime the Sens got the puck, they were panicking, and all they could do is dump it and change. Like, I know that was alarming.
Yeah, definitely alarming. I'm so used to the little ticker going on TSN where it's like, Jake Sanderson, he's been out there for 2 minutes. Travis Hamonic, he's been there for 2 minutes. And then it's like the full lineup. It's like all of them have been out there for like over 1 minute and 30 seconds. And then this time they were putting up the graphic of Ottawa hasn't had a shot in 16 minutes, and they just kept it rolling. And you're right, Pilsy. I mean, a little bit of embarrassing for sure. But also, I just think that, like, you can't look at it like that. I think you got to look at a big picture. I know Sens fan and Van, you got a great point. It's legitimate.
It's fair. Yes.
It's fair. But at the same time, you got to look at it in the way that they just found a way to win a game that they did not deserve to win. So I'm going to take the positives away from that as much as I possibly can, Pilsy, especially being up at 1:44 in the morning here in Ottawa and watching that whole game. I enjoyed the game. I'm gonna just focus on the positives here tonight. I don't see any reason not to.
Exactly, Martian. The vibes are high in the postcast, and another spot where the vibes are high always is the Glebe Central Pub. You guys know that the Glebe Central Pub is the official sponsor of the Postcast. It's our bar when we're back in the nation's capital. We got a jersey hanging up there, for crying out loud. And if you guys want to get to Sens games, there's no better way to go to a Sens game than the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. We were telling our buddy Jake, our latest Sens Central citizen, he's from New Jersey. He's never even been to Canada, let alone Ottawa or the CTC. He said, I heard the rink's out of town. How do I get there? We pointed him into the direction of the Glebe Central Pub shuttle, and you can do the same. Check it out at their website for all the dates. Martian's been on the bus a bunch. Jack's been on the bus a bunch. Anyone that's been on the bus knows it's an absolute vibe. And the best part is, gets you to the game with lots of time and then gets you home quicker than anyone else can, Martian. You know that the Glebe Central Pub shuttle always beats the traffic.
Incredibly fast. She rolls like the wind. What a driver Sue is. I mean, you can't ask for better than that.
Yep, Sue is a legend. So go check it out for yourselves. Visit our friends at Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street and let them know that the Locked On Senators podcast sent you. It's the Glebe Central Pub. The vibes are free at the GCP. This episode's also brought to you by Built Rewards. PSA for anyone who rents. If you haven't heard of Built, you're about to thank me. Earning points on rent is now a reality when you pay your rent through Built. You don't even have to check with your landlord to start earning points. You can use those points towards flights, hotels, fitness classes, and even your next rental payment. There's no cost to join Built. And as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and on your everyday spending. You can even transfer those points to your favorite hotels and airlines from all over the world. Points can even be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So if you're not earning points on rent, I got to ask, why not start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/lockedonnhl. That's joinbilt.com/lockedon. Make sure to use that URL so they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/lockedonnhl to start earning points on your rent payments today.
Chat's cracking me up right now, Pils.
Yeah.
We're getting the mustache love. I instigated it, but I asked for mustache love, and we're getting mustache love.
Hey, that's good, Martian. A couple of guys with some good mustaches here. You've got the Post Malone mustache going, Martian, where it looks like two capybaras are having a little kiss there. So that's a good look at that. It's two little capybaras just going in for an embrace. But I must ask you a question, Martian.
Please do.
How are you feeling about the Ottawa Senators after this? We have to get into the fact more that it was an awful game. Like the coaching staff obviously is happy to get a win, but I mean, the assistant coaches are going to have lots of film lined up for the video session in tomorrow's game. Does this give you, I'm trying to think of the right word to say this, because the Ottawa Senators have been a team where they've had the right process and not the right results. Tonight, they get the right result with the bad process. How does that mentality switch affect you? Is that good in your opinion, or is that some cause for concern?
Well, it's good and bad, Pilsy, because they got the 2 points out of it. So that's the good part for sure. But at the same time, I mean, there are concerns with how they played tonight. I'm not going to be completely naive to the whole thing. I know they won. Everybody here knows they won the game, and so that's good. But it wasn't perfect. It was not. It was far from a perfect game. You know, if not for Linus Ullmark tonight, things would have been a lot different. But again, I think that, you know, when you look at the team in general, you know, they're more experienced, and they kind of just hung in there in a nice way, and they didn't look like they were overly panicked, even though they were playing a little bit desperate at times where they're, like you said, they were dumping pucks out and this and that. But I just never felt that uncomfortable watching this one where I thought, oh well, there was a few moments actually where there was a power play and I knew San Jose was going to end up scoring on that power play.
That Pinto penalty
to tie it 3-3, and
Yep.
that was the one that where I tweeted it out. All I said was, "Oh boy," and I got instant reaction from Sens fans who were still up for that one, right? Because everybody knew it just seemed like the kind of moment where the Sens were going to get scored on.
Yeah, agreed.
Momentum was on San Jose's side for a lot of that third period, and just I think if you're going to take away another positive other than the win itself, is just the resilience of being able to hang in there and not allow more than just that one power play goal during that absolute cluster storm of a disaster of a third period. But other than that, I think, dude, honestly, I just can't come away from this game thinking too negatively.
We can't do it. We've had the negative vibes. We've had the negative feelings.
They had the 5 losses. I got a lot out of my system on Saturday.
Yeah.
We had that postcast, and I was firing on a lot of cylinders that I wouldn't usually. Tonight, I feel I'm on the other side of it right now. I'm just feeling a lot better about myself and this team. 2 wins in a row. 3's a streak. Let's get another one here in LA, and then after that, let's talk about how we're really feeling about the whole team as a whole. I did say, to evaluate this team, beginning of the season, I said 20 games. Let's talk then. That 22. That 20 games was so weird. I extended it to 25. So now, if we're talking 25, and they end up going, win here, win in LA. They had the win last game, and then they tack on maybe 1 or 2 more here, and we get to 25, and maybe they lose that last one. Whatever, it doesn't even matter at that point. It'll be a different feeling than what we're at right now and what we were at, on Thursday or on what day is it today? It's Wednesday.
Well, technically Thursday.
Monday,
2 in the morning.
So whatever we felt on Monday for the Amazon game. Before that one, I mean, we're just gonna feel every time they win, it's just gonna give us a little bit more life as a fan base. And I think you listen to Travis Green, he talks about not getting too high, not getting too low. I think we really need to do that as a fan base too. I'm guilty of it as much as anybody, but I think we just keep cruising here and just try to act like we've been there before, with losses and wins and the whole, because it's so easy for us to get down.
Well, we can understand Sens fans panic in November because we've had basically the season mathematically eliminated in November before.
Absolutely, we can. Absolutely, we can. I mean, like I said, I'm guilty of it more than I as much as anyone, if not more. So on the negative side, lately, I feel like it's easy to try to get negative on this team, but let's just hang in there a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm with you, Martian. I'm trying to hold on a little bit longer before I start getting too panicked. And look, obviously, putting together 4 wins in a row is a tall task for an Ottawa Senators team coming off a 5-game losing streak. But if they're able to sweep this Cali trip, they're going to be above 500, 12, 11-1. And that puts them in a much better spot. And to sweep the Cali trip, Martian, you got to win the first one in San Jose. And they don't do it pretty, but they get it done. And there's a couple, even though, like Sens fans in Van say, it was not a great overall team performance, I do believe there's a couple good Sens Central standouts that we're going to get to right after I tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. You guys know that FanDuel is the official online sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app is the place where you can bet on all the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same place where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com today. Remember, get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. All right, here we go, Martian. I will give you the honors. The first Sen Central standout of tonight's game. Who is it? Presented by the Glebe Central Pub.
I mean, dude, I gotta go with if I get the first dibs here, I gotta go with Linus Ullmark, man. We talked about this. Yeah, I know he's in your background, but I'm going for him here. That was the best game I've seen him play, I think, as an Ottawa Senator. 36 saves, the 3 goals against. If you want to talk about those, I don't think really any of them are shots that you're expecting him to save. I think that was it the third one, the second one that was a little bit of like a weird like play where he ended up getting beat. I think it was maybe
the third one.
It was the third one. So that was maybe the only one where you look at it.
One, yeah.
Yeah, I think even for him, like he had made 2 good saves prior to that in that same shift. It was like that same sequence. He was making saves. He looked dialed all night long. He did great tonight. 923 save percentage. Obviously played the full game. He was fantastic out there. So for me, Linus Ullmark, there's a few, man, and he didn't even get credit for one of them. Probably his best save of the night, Pillsy, came on a delayed penalty that everybody thought this penalty was an Ottawa Senators penalty because San Jose had possession of the puck and they didn't blow it down, and it ends up getting tossed out front, and it's just a massive pad save where he slides right across, coast to coast for the goalie, and he makes a great save there. He doesn't even get credit for that thing because it ended up being that, San Jose, I think it was Mario Ferraro, ended up getting like a roughing or a tripping penalty or something that they just, I don't know what happened with the ref. He was sleeping on the job. But Ullmark, it might have been a bit of a blessing in disguise because even if it went in, it wouldn't have counted because obviously it was a penalty against San Jose. But
he still gets the confidence boost of a big save.
Exactly, Pilsy. It kind of like weirdly reminded me of like when he was going in and out in that game where he just kind of came in, just made one big save, and that was it. Just like a little confidence booster. So yeah, it was an incredible game from Linus Ullmark. So I'm gonna go with him for my Sen Central standout here. And I feel like this is one of those nights we're gonna go around the horn twice, and I have a feeling.
Yeah, I think we can probably do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this, I think I know who you're going for next.
36 saves for Linus Ullmark, so you love to see that. Great Sen Central standout, Martian. He was the first star of the game. I'm going with the second star of the game, then a guy that got 2 goals, Adam Gaudette. Whew! The hockey god now with 11 goals. He scores the first goal of the game and the last goal of the game. So the 2 bookends on this story that was the Ottawa Senators winning 4-3. And I mentioned it today, Martian, because he was my locked on player, that the line of Brady, Timmy, and Gaudette just makes so much sense on paper. You've got the ultimate skill guy playmaker in Timmy with the speed, and then you've got the big brute force in Brady. Timmy brings the puck up the ice. Brady just needs to cause havoc in front of the net, and then Adam Gaudette needs to find the open ice to score goals. Now, obviously, Brady, he wasn't really involved in front of the net for either of those goals, as it was pretty much just Timmy and Gaudette, but he ends up getting 2 assists, so he's still in the mix there point-wise. But Gaudette just knows when I'm playing with the player as good as Tim Stützle, if he has the puck on his stick, there's 2 things I'm doing if I'm Adam Gaudette as a sniper. Finding open ice and getting ready for that pass right on the tape, or heading to the net like your life depends on it. And that's what he did with both goals. And even Timmy was amazed at that second goal. You see him just standing at the half wall. The replay they caught from the corner cam was awesome. Timmy just at the half wall being like, whoa, like, yeah, because Gaudette just reaches his stick out, tips it, and that thing ricocheted top shelf faster than I've ever seen. So Adam Gaudette, 11 goals. It's incredible. And he's really earning his time in that top 6 and on that power play. So the hockey god gets the game winner.
Yeah, it goes back to your first thing you said there, which was he's ready to score at all times. And he knows
what he does.
Adam Gaudette's, I mean, I don't imagine him as an unintelligent hockey player. Some of the guys you just don't know, like if they're just like all there. He seems like the kind of guy, he knows his role. He knows where he needs to go. He knows what he needs to do, and he knows when he gets chances, he needs to bury them.
He doesn't take it for granted, right, Martian? Like, you can tell he's one of those guys that's hungry and is taking every moment of this opportunity.
Great point, Pilsy, because like he just seems like the kind of guy who's every opportunity he gets, he's going to try to do his best to make sure he takes full advantage of that. And what better player to be playing with than a Tim Stützle, who right now is playing gung ho. Like, this guy is playing dogs out hockey. He's going absolutely 100 miles per hour out there every night. And if you don't mind, that just might lead me right into my central standout.
Go ahead, sir.
My second standout here is Tim Stützle. I mean, this guy, I'm gonna keep beating this drum, guys, and you better get used to hearing it, because if you're not giving it to the German out there, you're just not doing it right. Like, he's the best player on the ice. Like, most of the time, no matter who they're playing, he just seems to be on a different level this year. And I can't imagine he's going to slow down anytime soon as far as his career goes. But right now, Tim Stützle is playing hockey at a level that we haven't seen him at yet. And he's just finally, like, he's arrived as like this incredible player. 3 points tonight. And he didn't even seem like he was even playing the way he can. Like, as far as goal scoring goes, but he was playmaking tonight, facilitating. And I said it earlier, but it seemed like there was a concerted effort tonight to get him the puck, because everybody knew that he was rolling. Every time he got the puck, Pilsy, he was getting in deep, forecheck, grab the puck, make a play, get him the puck in the neutral zone. He's giving it to the right guy. They're getting offensive possession. When he's got his feet moving the way he can, and he's trucking around out there, he's very difficult to handle, and he's just getting bigger. And I think he was probably licking his chops a little bit with the matchup tonight with Macklin Celebrini and saying, hey, I've been that guy before. I've been the 18-year-old who's sitting out here in the NHL ice surface and trying to do my best. But listen, I've got years experience on you right now, and I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna shove it right in your face, and I'm gonna do the same thing to your teammates, right? Like, he was physical again. He's been physical. I don't know how many hits he was credited for tonight. 3. And, that's in the top echelon of our forward group here tonight. So he was going. I don't even know if he ended up taking many faceoffs tonight. He was 0% in the dot is what I'm seeing. I don't know if that means any or if he didn't win any. But either way, comes out +2 on the night. 1936 on ice, which yet again was very close to the top forward ice time. Giroux was the only guy who had more. And I think the only reason for that was probably because Sens were in the defensive zone a lot tonight, and Giroux is their main guy for that kind of, scenario. So either way, Tim Stützle, for me, just an absolute dog.
Yeah, Timmy did not have any draws tonight, which is crazy for your number one center. But Martian, you talked about Giroux and defensive draws. Claude Giroux went 7 for 9 in defensive zone draws. So that's clutch, absolutely massive. And speaking of Giroux and a play that Timmy had, like, Timmy's game is just so complete right now. Honestly, one of his best plays, and this was huge, was beating out that icing when Giroux missed that empty net goal. Yeah. And I was, Jack and I were talking before the postcast, and it was just like, oh man, Giroux missed that. That would have been a nice puck line. Now we got to go back, have a face off on our end. And then it's just like, wait, how is Timmy here? Like, Timmy's in the mix and he beats out the icing. So that was absolutely huge. Would have been nice if he could have got that one in somehow, but great game.
Do you think he just loves playing for Travis Green? Do you think that might be it for Timmy? I think he seems to be enjoying the Green attention he's getting. Like, he's
certainly buying into Green's process. Yeah, because we have not seen Timmy play this physical game, this defensive game. But Martian, I think more it's Timmy got a big chip on his shoulder after last year did not go his way. I mean, he only scored 1 power play goal, under 20 goals after being in the high 30s. Like, I think he really looked at himself this offseason and said, I got to find a way to be better. And then having a new coaching staff to kind of light a fire under him, I think has worked wonders. And Tinted Timmy is the tinted visor. Tinted Timmy's a whole nother animal.
Yeah, Tinted Timmy, that's just the chef's kiss on top of all of it. But I think maybe it was a little bit of like a thing where like people warned Timmy like prior to the season, like, hey, this coach has historically been very hard on young skilled players, like guys like in Vancouver, Elias Pettersson definitely went through a hard time under Travis Green. I think Quinn Hughes as well. I think maybe like kind of just like right away didn't really get like his feet under him as well as he obviously does now. But I think Timmy got the fair warning and he, grabbed the bull by the horns and he did his thing. So he's the least of our worries right now is Tim Stützle. So the way he's going, he can do a lot out there he can do a lot. He can take over games. So that's a good sign.
Timmy is on a 5-game point streak now. In tonight's game, he ends up with 3 assists and a +2. So, yeah, great game for Timmy. Good call there, Martian.
I didn't know. Is that good?
That's pretty good. Yeah. We like that from Timmy. But you know what else we like? And for my final Sen Central standout presented by the Glebe Central Pub, scoring your first ever NHL goal. Choo-choo! The K train has arrived at the station with his first. And that's, if you're a defenseman, if you're a physical, hard-nosed defenseman like Tyler Clevin, that's about as good a first goal as you can get. Claude Giroux does a good job keeping that puck in, seeing Clevin, and Clevin Travis Hamonic is going to be such a proud veteran, being like, that was a great slap shot, kid. Not only did you hit the net, but you scored, because he just absolutely blasts that one past Mackenzie Blackwood. And the boys on the bench were so excited. Like, honestly, I think that's my favorite moment when players get their first NHL goal, Martian, is just watching the reactions from the teammates. Brady's a reaction, especially. He's kind of hanging on the bench, waiting to go on for a shift, kind of just checking the play out. And then he notices that Clevin scored, and you just see his face light up and his arms go up and he's going nuts. So what a great moment. And we're so happy for Tyler Clevin.
Yeah, obviously, we are happy for Tyler Clevin. That was just, as you said it, Pilsy. Great first NHL goal. And then that's another thing that I think I've mentioned it on here, and I think I've tweeted it out before. It's just like, that's a level of Tyler Clevin's game that he has yet to unlock. But like, he's sneaky offensive, man. He is sneaky offensive. So I'm not surprised. I'm actually, you know what I should say is I am surprised it took him this long to score his first
39 games.
39 games, which is, I wouldn't count his rookie season as much as I will count just the rest, like this entire season right now.
Yeah.
Because this is technically his rookie season. So, whatever it is, 21, 22 games, 21 games. It took him to get his first goal this year. I'm surprised it took that long. And the Sens defense hasn't been scoring a lot. They talked a little bit about it on the broadcast. I think that was only their 5th goal from the back end, if I'm not mistaken.
4th, I think, because I think it's just 1 for Shabby, 1 for Jake Sanderson, 1 for Nick Jensen, and then Tyler Clevin gets 1 there. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a low number, I think, to this point in the season. I think maybe that's something we should keep track of. But I think, obviously, Jake Sanderson is the guy we're going to be looking to for more offensive from the back end. But also, I think Tyler Clevin can provide a little bit of that. He's got that sneaky wrister, and then obviously he's got that big shot we saw tonight. So Tyler Clevin, watch out, because he's sneaking up. He's sneaking up big time. He gets better every game.
Yeah, he is. Like, I think there's ebbs and flows to Tyler Clevin's game, but as any young defenseman, that's going to happen. And I think he's more on the right track than on the wrong track. I'll say that for sure, right, Martian? Like, I think you're looking at him and you're seeing what he can become with a little more experience, rather than panicking and being like, oof, he's not there yet. In my opinion, it's swaying more towards the positive side.
Definitely more towards the positive side. Absolutely. He is an NHL player. Like that, there's no doubt about it. We're not going to see Tyler Clevin get his job taken from him unless some stud comes in who's left-handed and just all of a sudden steals it. Right now, Tyler Clevin is our third pairing D-man, and I am completely comfortable with him being back there in that position.
Yep, agreed. And he gets the 3rd goal for the Ottawa Senators in a 4-3 Sens victory over the San Jose Sharks in a building that they have just struggled in. That was their first win in San Jose since before COVID. So it's been a long time, and that's a big win to get. Martian, let's end with this discussion. I feel like it's a typical discussion, but I think you know where I'm going. You start Ullmark or Forsey next game. It's a back-to-back, so they're both going to play no matter what. How do you feel about going back to Ullmark, or do you try to get Forsey in there? Where you stand? In chat, let us know as well.
Sorry, so like I should know this, but their second game. So on Saturday they play LA, and then
LA, Anaheim.
I would, doesn't matter actually. I think I would go Ullmark first, and then I would go Forsberg on the second half of that back-to-back. That's the way I would answer that. I don't know what the chat's saying, but I would go Ullmark first, and then I would go Forsberg versus Anaheim. And Anaheim's probably one of those teams that's going to be facing a lot of backup goalies this year. So I think that's probably the way I would play that one. I've already said it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it seems like most of the chat says the same. And LA's the harder opponent. So give Ullmark that nod and being like, hey, we got a back-to-back. You had a nice game. We're going to give you the harder matchup because you're our guy. And we want you to feel that confidence and that support as well. So it'd be silly, in my opinion, if they went back to Forsberg, especially knowing that he's going to get right back in the pipes on Sunday. It's not like he's sitting on the shelf for a while. So, yeah, I like Ullmark as the choice too.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it like the Sens should be able to compete with LA at any given night, right? Any day of the week this year, they should be able to handle LA. So that's going to be a good game no matter what. But you want to start your starting goalie for that game, and I bet you LA is going to be doing the same thing. I don't know if they're on a back-to-back too, but LA's a decent team, so you gotta make sure your starting goalie's in there. Give yourself the best chance to win you can. And then hope for the best with Forsey in there, who's been playing well this year so far against a lesser team, I would say, in Anaheim.
And just looking at the out-of-town scoreboards tonight, some help, some not so great. The Wild beat the Sabres 1-0. Philip Gustafson gets the shutout. The Blues beat the Devils 3-0, another shutout there. But the Flames allow the Red Wings to win in overtime. You don't love that. What else we got? The Canucks can't beat the Penguins. That's one I really hoped would help out the Ottawa Senators. And then the Canadiens and Blue Jackets, a 3-point game. The Canadiens getting the win in overtime. The Flyers getting the win in overtime over the Preds. So some good, some bad when it comes to the out-of-town scoreboard. But the most important thing, Martian, I know you're not a big standings guy, so you're not hounding the out-of-town scoreboard as much as other people, is the Sens get the 2 points. Like I don't really care that much what else happens as long as the Ottawa Senators are taking care of business in their own games.
Just give me the 2 points. Just give us the 2 points, Bills.
Agreed. So a big night from Tim Stützle, from Linus Ullmark, from Adam Gaudette, and Tyler Clevin gets his first NHL goal in the Ottawa Senators 4-3 win over the San Jose Sharks. This has been an amazing postcast with over 250 people. A bunch of it was 300 people. It's 2:12 in the morning. So you guys, the dedication, the passion of Sens community is best in class. So with that, we'll wrap it up. For myself, Brandon Pillar, for Lalime's Martian, for producer Ross, and good luck, Lily, 2-0, Lily Levitan. Let's get Lily's lullaby going here. You guys know it. It's Danger Flutes. Get some Go Sens Go in the chat. The Ottawa Senators win 4-3 up against the San Jose Sharks. This has been another postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and, of course, the Glebe Central Pub. We'll have another episode of the Locked On Senators podcast for you tomorrow. You guys know the deal because it's the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.